Hi.
It's nice meeting you.
You too.
I'm really enjoying the series.
Oh, it's great.
Quite a bit. I'm 3 episodes in and I'm just like fascinated, but also just really pulled into it and like so excited to see what happens next. It's so engaging.
Oh, thank you.
Easy to be engaged with, not like I was worried. I was like, oh, this is going to be.
I know.
Yeah, I'll need a roadmap, someone to kind of navigate me through, but the series does it on its own. So.
Oh, good. Well, that was definitely something consciously we were trying to do. Be able to pull people along through character and, but at the same time service the complexity of Dune. So, yeah.
So what was your relationship with Dune before the series?
Well, I was a fan. I read it as a teenager. I have a very strong sense memory of reading it the way only like those big, thick, immersive novels where you really feel like you went somewhere. And for a girl, like in whatever, some little town in New Jersey, it's like, whoa, like what a trip. Like, so that was amazing. And I certainly continued to be inspired by it and always would check out whenever anybody did a version of it. And, I got very obsessed with Jodorowsky's Dune. I don't know if you've ever seen that documentary.
I have.
But like to me, I just thought that was just an incredible kind of testament to Dune as an inspiration, even when it didn't get made in that version, it went on to inspire. It's just such an inspiring property. It has such a massive influence. And so I just related to it as a fan from afar until, when I was finishing up my time on Westworld and this opportunity presented itself. And at that point, I felt like, oh, wow, no brainer on the one hand, because how could I not try that?
So are you a fan of Dune, mainly, or are you a geek as well? And I'm part of that group.
I would definitely classify myself as a geek. I don't know that I could like win the trivia contest of like all things, but I definitely love genre. I've always loved genre, and it's really been the kind of work I've gravitated to do a lot in my career.
Well, you've worked on some of my favorite series, Lost and Alias, Westworld. What did those allow you to, how did those help you when stepping into the world of Dune?
I feel like, they all, really, that's like the beginning, middle, and end of my career. So I was playing different roles on different shows, but they all aspired to, first of all, compel you with character, which is something I know sounds so basic, but something I really think is important, that like you're having that pleasurable relationship to who you're seeing on screen every week and want to know what they're going to do and are surprised by them and all that basic human relationship to the humans that are on screen. And then to put it in a world that feels epic but intimate and, transports you but is grounded. I feel like Alias was doing that in its own way, trying to take you all over the globe. Lost took you to like a totally strange island. And then Westworld, which was some of the most outstanding filmmaking I've ever been a part of. I feel like not only was that telling an immersive story that I think was truly ahead of its time, like in terms of examining the rise of AI, I just thought it was so fascinating. And the filmmaking was such a high bar that the people I was working with. So at every stage, it's a combination. And by that point, I was more of a leader. So I was able to be interfacing with the different departments. And so everything that felt like a real training ground for Dune in a sense of it was a huge, ambitious show with, and you just understood what it took to put something like that on the screen.
You bring up AI, and AI is part of this. They've kind of defeated AI and moved past it.
Right.
But it seems like every post-apocalyptic film or story, not most, but many have this AI quality to it. And I always wonder, why are we exploring that? Like, shouldn't we have watched the films before and said, wait, pause? Like, what are your feelings about AI and this?
Oh, I feel like it's many feelings. It's a very powerful moment, obviously, to be, and I felt this way on Westworld in a different way. But Dune, you're right. Dune is imagining a fallout a sort of what would happen if like we almost became extinct because of machines and had to fight our way back, and the fear around that. And now we've outlawed technology and we're in this more stagnant kind of interstellar feudal world that feels like the past but isn't the future. And that's so unique to Dune. And I think that is so exciting, that kind of like ancient futurism vibe that it's got. And you're watching like sort of how humanity is going to reclaim itself. Meanwhile, and that's my creative life, and then my daily life, I'm watching us all, look, for sometimes very good reason, but like rushing headlong to give our thinking away to machines, where more and more you're like, I don't know, ChatGPT, or you're like, I don't know, maybe what if I type in this command? I watch my kids do homework, and you're like, they don't need to write the essay in the way we learned to write it, and maybe that's okay, but also what are we giving up, and what is that going to mean down the road? I mean, it's interesting. I find that the debates we're having in real life certainly affect how I'm thinking about the show, and then the show kind of puts an interesting spin on what's happening.
Yeah, you wish there was a pause, and somebody say,
Yeah.
you know what, can we have a year or two to like
Yeah.
do some tests, because I see myself using it.
Yeah.
It's getting kind of crazy.
And also, you're in this teaching relationship to machines that I don't know that people like ever like are as maybe sensitized to as they are. So every time you're posting a picture of like, this is me in high school and this is me now, or the AI software is getting smarter about how they're going to model you, and I mean, just it's like we're bootstrapping up our computers in a pretty intense way.
And you know they're taking everything. Every word of this conversation is probably owned by YouTube. It's owned by Google, which was then sold up and churned into the machines.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back on topic.
All right, because
we are
we could do that. That'll be a dinner.
Dune had to be intimidating. It's such a massive world, massive scale.
Yes.
How did you tackle it? Because you have the great storytelling, great characters, and very complex. And no one's seen at face value. Everybody has this kind of depth to them. Plus, you have these amazing visuals and this actual universe that you create. So, can you tell me a little bit of like where do you begin?
Yeah, I mean, you have to sort of acknowledge the fear. I mean, like for sure, and I feel like that's very Dune. Like fear is the Maya killer. But like, I mean, yes, it's super intimidating. It's a tremendous respect for the material and a privilege to be working in it. I think that I approach it the way I would approach any story, you know what I mean? Which is like, breaking down character arcs and emotional through lines, and the world building is, to me, it's so much about assembling people who you're like-minded with, who, but at the same time are bringing their own genius to every aspect of the production, and everybody has a contribution to make. And I think that is, what I felt my job was just to like be a coherent voice as I sort of worked across just people at the top of their fields, whether they were doing production design or doing visual effects or directing or the DP, it's just everybody out there kind of reaching together. And then I think it becomes a group effort, and then it's a little bit less intimidating in the sense of you're all just putting one foot in front of the other, and it's one day at a time.
Yeah. Well, what I've seen in the first 3 episodes, you've really orchestrated it amazing. It's just, I just can't imagine like what day one is. Oh, by the way, you needed to build a world. You have hundreds of actors.
Yeah. No,
insane.
It's true. Every day was kind of like it really felt like you were going out to maximize.
Okay, and one last question.
Of course.
To wrap it up, going into the Dune mindset.
Yeah.
If you could have one power from the Dune universe, which one would it be and why?
Oh, that's so interesting. Well, I feel like while the voice might be tempting, I think I'll leave that to others to be ordering people around. I like truth sense. I think the notion to know if somebody is really on the up and up or not would be a very empowering way to go through the world.
Yeah, especially election week.
Oh, right.
Imagine watching the news and just, can you do it through TV or does it have to be face to face?
I think a Benny Gesserit could probably read someone through the TV.
Well, I'd love to have that power, at least before I vote.
Me too.
maybe not, never vote again.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time and for your work on the series. I'm loving it. I can't wait to watch it.
Oh, I mean, I can't tell you what that means because it really is. It's the most massive effort I've ever made. And
I mean,
that's so wonderful.
it's
Thank
all there
you.
on screen. So
Thank you.
Thank you.